Hello, Grats and Gets. Welcome back. I have sick combos number 4 for you today, guys. This is going to be the Space Marine Edition. Now, over the last week, last couple of days, there's been a lot of new, really cool stuff that's come out, stuff that we haven't previously been able to do. So I'm super excited to present this to you. If you want more access to stuff like this, make sure you join the members-only Discord. You can join by signing up as a YouTube member or as a member on Coffee. Links in the description down below. With that, I present to you Reavers and Phobos Lieutenant. This combination is absolutely sick. Effectively, what you're going to do is you're going to take the Phobos Lieutenant, not actually the Reaver Lieutenant, which is kind of hilarious. The Phobos Lieutenant is going to give you the ability to shoot and scoot d6 inches after you shoot. Now, this is super important because he has a very specific wording, which is unlike some of the other wording, all the other wordings actually with your scoot and shoot abilities, where you can still charge after this ability. Now, the Phobos Armor Lieutenant has Deep Strike, and so do all of the Reavers because you're going to take the Grab Shoot equipment, because why wouldn't you take the Grab Shoot equipment? So you Deep Strike in, you shoot all your pistols, and don't forget your pistols are, they've got the, oh silly, what is it, the AP1, and they have the precision keyword on them, which is kind of cute because it makes it a little bit annoying, the special issue bolt pistols. They also have the bolt carbines if you want to shoot a little bit further than that. Not that that shooting is anything impressive. But what's going to happen is you're now going to get to move d6 inches closer to your opponent. So you deep strike 9 inches away, roll the dice. The average roll is going to be a 3 or a 4. So you're going to get 3 or 4 inches closer, which means you're going to have a 6 or a 5-inch charge deep strike. Now, this is actually really important because now that you have that very close-up charge, our Reavers actually have gotten a heck of a lot better since the most recent data slate. So now we have AP1 on all of the knives. And let's just assume that we're going to run this in the Blood Angels because I'm a freaking Blood Angel player, and that's the way I'm going to think about it. Is this good? Well, for 80 points for the Reavers, 55 points for the Phobos Lieutenant, that's a 135-point combo. This can be very, very solid because now you're going to get 26 attacks at AP1. And remember, we're talking about in like a Liberator Assault Group detachment. It'll be less effective than in other detachments, but there will also be other detachments that are also effective, right? So you're going to have 26 attacks, AP1, 6 of them from the Lieutenant himself will be sustained, and he also gives lethal to the whole squad, by the way, so it'll be sustained and lethal, so everyone will have lethal on these. That'll go to strength 6 on the charge, with potentially using Lance, because you have a stratagem for Lance. You're also going to be reducing the OC of all the units that are not, monsters and vehicles by 1, and you're going to be causing a battle shock at -1 with all units within engagement range. This is spicy. Now, 20 of those attacks themselves are also going to have the precision keyword already, and if you really desperately need to kill a character, you can also spend a CP to give precision to the Lieutenant as well, which means all 26 attacks will be strike 6 plus 1 to wound, AP1, and they're going to pick up any character in the game. There are a few exceptions, but not too freaking many. And with the battle shock at -1, there's going to be a really high possibility that your opponent will not be able to even use any defensive strats to try to protect themselves. This is actually a lot of damage that you can put out for a relatively inexpensive unit. Now, granted, you're not typically going to want to trade a 135-point unit for, say, a 100-point Calidus, even though it is a really great way to get rid of those super annoying characters that are ruining your game. But in this specific scenario, since these guys have all the OC mechanisms and the battle shock mechanisms, one, they can easily do this action, or this activity, as we say, steal the objective from their opponent, get a 5-point victory point swing, perhaps score a secondary, like a behind enemy lines, or something else, or an engage that you didn't think you were going to get otherwise, and then in the next turn, their aura, they still have a 6-inch aura, which will make people take a -1 to all battle shock and leadership tests. Let's say that you combine that aura with, Dante, or even Mephiston. So now suddenly if your opponent's units want to fall back in their turn, they're going to have to take a leadership test from Mephiston's aura, and it'll be at -1 because of the Reaver's aura. This is actually pretty freaking sick. It stacks a lot. There's a lot of interesting play here. I'm going to try to be making some lists where I make use of it, but it's a sick-ass combo if you want to run it in this specific detachment. There are other places where you might want to run it as well. For example, I would consider running it in Gladius, where you can give them Lance and an additional blip of AP if you're in the Tactical Doctrine, or, the Assault Doctrine. There's a couple other places where you can run this combo as well. But anyway, guys, I think legit, Reavers, the time might have finally come. Reavers might actually be good now, which is pretty cool to say. All right, let's talk about the next sick combo in this video. Some of you have already seen this, but some of you have not. So let me blow your freaking minds if you haven't seen it. This is going to be Cernguard in the new Psychic Detachment, which is, I believe it's called the Librarius... Oh, what's it called? It's called the Librarius Conclave. Now, in the Librarius Conclave, you have the ability to choose certain disciplines, but that's fairly irrelevant to this combination. Because you have an enhancement called the Fusillade Enhancement, which is going to give anti-monster 5-up, anti-monster vehicle 5-up to the weapons in the squad. So what you do is you take a full squad of Cernguard, 10 of them. 8 of them are going to take Cernguard bolt rifles, and 2 of them you're going to take Cernguard heavy bolt rifles. And then you're going to either choose Pyromancy as your discipline, which will give you +1 AP if you're within 12 inches, which you probably won't be, and you don't really need it. The important part, though, is it's going to give you sustained hits on these Cernguard bolt rifles. Or you can choose Telekinesis for +6 inches, which sometimes you might do that because that's going to extend the rapid fire range of your weapons. And there's a big difference between having rapid fire at 12 inches and rapid fire at 15 inches. So sometimes you might actually use the Telekinesis to give +6 inches rather than take the sustained hits benefit of the enhancement. Now, if you say, let's just say that we are in rapid fire range, and let's say that we are taking the sustained hits. This combination is going to deal 14 damage into a Land Raider with just the Cernguard bolt rifles, because we're also going to Oath of Moment that target, and now we get to fish for hits, sustained hits, and then we also get to fish for dev wounds on 5s, not 6s. That's the key. So you're going to take 14 damage in dev wounds on a Land Raider with this combination, and then you do the heavy bolters, which is going to be another 6 to 8 damage. And then you do the Librarian, which is going to be another 2 to 4 damage. So you're going to be anywhere within the realms of 22 to 26 damage with this combination, as long as you're in rapid fire range and you get the sustained hits and you're attacking the Oath of Moment target. Now, this sounds terrifying, and guess what? It is pretty terrifying, and it does one-shot most anything. There are some things that'll survive because they have feel no pains, but most things are going to pretty much die to this. Now, before you freak out and say this is busted and broken, what I want you to realize is that the rest of this detachment is generally not very good. It's not bad. There's some interesting, cute little options, but the rest of the detachment is very, what I would consider subpar. So this is a sick, super powerful combination that exists in this detachment, but I think if you take this detachment for only this ability, you're going to be disappointed. There might be some new builds, so other builds that we can make this detachment really work, but this is a one-trick pony because it's only going to exist on one squad because it does require the enhancement, and I can pretty much assure you the second you let this unit drop down and kill something, your opponent's going to kill it right back because they're not going to let you do it twice. So this is a pretty amazing combination. I actually don't think GW is going to nerf it just because of the detachment it's in and the fact that you can't replicate it. But who knows? Maybe they will, and we'll see. So yeah, this is sick combo number 2. Let's check out sick combo number 3. We've got the Lion's Blade Outriders. So this is in the new detachment for the Dark Angels. What we're going to do is we're going to take Samael and we're going to lead him with Outriders. Now, just generally speaking, this is going to be a reasonable choice just in a lot of detachments if you're playing Dark Angels now. Because Samael's going to be giving them advanced shoot and charge. And Outriders just got a huge glow up in the new data slate that when they charge, the unit is going to be getting +1 to damage and +1 to strength. And that seriously matters for a lot of freaking breakpoints. Which, oh my gosh, if you're going to enjoy this. You're really going to enjoy that change. Trust me, Outriders are suddenly usable, and it makes me happy. Anyway, so you're going to get to advance and charge them. That's going to make Samael himself go up to damage 3 and strength 7 on the charge, which is a huge breakpoint because now he's wounding all vehicles on 5s, and he's wounding basically every infantry on 3s, minimum. 2s on a lot of them, 3s at minimum, right? Because if you're playing against like Custodes or you're playing against Terminators, that strength 7, or a possessed, I suppose. So possessed and Custodes are toughness 6, so that strength 7 is a big breakpoint for some of those other elite infantry in the game. I think there is some infantry, like a Custodes Terminator is T7, and a Obliterator is T7. So there's like, and Centurions are 7. So there's a few that he'll be winning on 4s and not 3s. But regardless, he's also inbuilt sustained hits too. So when he does this, when he charges, he's gonna hit like a beast. Now the real cool trick in this particular detachment is that you have a CP to allow yourself to move through walls, ignore terrain with mounted. So now Samael and his Outriders get to move straight through the walls in the movement phase and in the charge phase. Of course, it'll cost an additional CP if you want to do it in the charge phase as well. But what that does is it gets them in the places where your opponent's like, oh crap, I can't believe he's able to get this. Because they're going to move 12, they're going to get to advance through the wall, and then still charge, and then move through a wall again. They can go wherever the heck they want. And then, honestly, when you look at just the sheer damage output of Samael himself, he's going to be killing 3 custodians by himself, and then the Outriders will probably maybe pick off half, or they'll get a whole another one, just depending on how things go. This is very spicy, and also one of the cool things is now you get to proc the Deathwing ability for the detachment, which will allow your Deathwing units to have +2 inches to charge, since you already have a Waven Ring unit engaged with them. So it's a huge combination that really gets you a lot of distance and a lot of freaking damage, and I think we're going to like it a lot if you're playing that detachment. I got one more bonus for you guys. This one might be a little bit obvious, but man, I just played it, and I got to be honest with you, it's sick. AP5 Plasma. So... AP5 Plasma is one heck of a boast when you're running the new Death Watch. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to take the new Talon Strike team, and which, by the way, I actually don't think this is the best thing in Death Watch. I think the Indomitor teams are better, but this is pretty sick still. So I'm going to talk about it now. You take the Talon Strike Death Watch team. In the Talon Strike Death Watch team, you're going to have 5 Inceptors and 5 Jump Pack Assault Intercessors that happen to have 3 Plasma Pistols for whatever reason. They just do. Now, you're going to activate your army roll for Sustained Hits 1, or you'll spend a CP to give the unit Sustained Hits 1. And then you're going to spend a CP on either +1 AP and +6 inches to your range, or you're going to spend it on Ignore Cover. Because either way, it's basically the same thing, right? You ignore cover or you're +1 AP. Really doesn't make a difference in most scenarios. Then this unit has a normal typical ability that they gain every single time they come in from reserves, which you're always going to be coming in reserves because you have Uppy Downy in this detachment, where they just get an extra blip of AP. So now you have 10 Strength 8 Twin-Linked AP5 Damage 3 Plasma Exterminators and 3 Strength 8 AP5 Damage 2 Plasma Guns. Feel free to throw in anything else you wanted. So like if you wanted to shoot with a Thunder Strike to give them +1 to wound against their target, there's lots of options. But this thing freaking slaps. And the fact that you're in Death Watch and you get to spend 1 CP to Uppy Downy 2 units every single turn, you get to do this turn after turn after turn. So it's a really, really strong and interesting little anti-elite combination that honestly will slap up a lot too. It doesn't have to be anti-elites, because when you're fishing for those twin links, you're going to pop through monsters and vehicles and stuff as well. So this is awesome. So guys, these were 4 really sick combos. This was your Space Marine edition, just because of all the new things that have dropped over the past few days. If you like these things, let me know down below what you like the most. And if there are other combinations that you're thinking about, put them down below and I'll explore them, and maybe you'll get your combination featured in another sick combos video. Until next time, this was Happy Cruppin', and I hope you have a lovely freaking day. Bye-bye.